Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Non Sequitur Nerds. Tonight, we're getting on the hype train of a hype train that derailed anyway. As always, though, I am Tim, joined by Ian. How you doing, buddy?
Isn't isn't that basically what every episode is? Is just a derailing of everything?
Everything? I mean, pretty much, pretty much. I mean, and if the intro was a little confusing, we're talking things that had a lot of hype and didn't really live up to it. But
running the classic running a marathon and then you trip at the finish line type thing.
Some of them didn't even get that far.
Well,
some of them didn't show up to the marathon. That's how bad they did.
Yeah. As to use a kind of a euphemism that my old boss used to use is, the company was on they were all on the bus to go into Muncie, but they were driving to Evansville.
For those of you that aren't from Indiana, you probably have no reference for that. It's called
basically
it's called Google.
directions.
People, look it up.
Right, exactly.
But
anyway,
there've been the reason that we bring this episode up is the Morbius movie recently came out, and thus far, yeah, I wish I had a sad trombone noise for that. I just have the air horn right now because I'm lazy. But yeah, it is not reviewing well so far. People are saying that it's just a jumbled mess. That there's a lot of stuff that just you could tell stuff was cut out of it. You could tell like the editing was just weird in it. It doesn't know what Spider-Man cinematic universe it wants to be in, apparently. Now, I will preface this by saying neither one of us have seen the movie yet. I still kind of want to see it just to see the train wreck. But we haven't seen the movie yet. This is just what people online are saying. So,
yeah, but I don't want to. And we've kind of talked about this offline before.
yeah.
I have absolutely no love for Jared Leto, so
Yeah.
I really have no desire to support him by giving money to go see it.
I'm pretty sure we've talked about that on the show, too.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'll watch it, but am I going to pay for it? No.
Yeah.
Am I saying I'm going to pirate it? No.
It's not even worth that.
It's not even worth that.
Yeah.
I'll wait until it comes out to some streaming service.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll watch it.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at. I mean, which sucks because, I was never a really big Morbius fan. Like, out of the Spider-Man characters, he was never one that I was, super into. Like, I was familiar with the character. But, the first couple trailers, I'm like, okay, the first trailer, I'm like, oh, okay, Morbius, whatever. But the next couple trailers they put out, I'm like, okay, this looks interesting. I want to go see this. And then, the pre-release reviews came out, and I'm like, oh, crappy.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is kind of like the I think the best part of from one of the reviewers that I watched or read, but the best part is like the first 15 minutes, and then it's like,
and then it's a roller coaster that goes right into the ground.
Yeah, exactly. It's the demon drop straight to hell.
Nice.
Actually, that's probably a better analogy. It's the demon drop. Like it goes up and then just goes straight back down. But anyway, so yeah, we're talking, critical financial flops, really, of the entertainment world.
Yeah.
And there's quite a few. Yeah, there's quite a few of them out there. We can't really have a season 2 show, it seems, without mentioning one of our favorites, Battlefield Earth.
If you want to know, we did a whole episode on movies that no one wanted, which I think is our most recent episode as of the time of recording, anyway. Yeah, that was an interesting thing that exists.
Yeah. I mean, the movie's production budget was capped out to be about 103 million. It grossed just shy of 30 worldwide.
That's a significant loss.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant loss.
Yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah,
bad. And I mean, we could also talk about movies that are bad just because they're bad, not necessarily because they flopped. This is kind of like the hype train, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone was hyped for it, and then it just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, did you have one in mind?
No, I'd have to go through and take a look, I think, at some of the ooh, God, I forgot about that one.
We'll say
The
oh, go ahead.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Oh my God, I had forgotten about that. Was Eddie Murphy, wasn't it?
Yeah, he plays like a superhero. That was like the 90, like
gosh.
90s. Oh God, it came out in 2002. Ooh.
No,
Yeah.
that had to be earlier in 2002.
No, it came out in 2002.
Huh.
Yeah. Its budget
Oh yeah, I gotta hear
was
this.
100 million.
All right.
Its worldwide gross was 7.1 million.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. It didn't even break the 10 million mark. Ow.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
I mean, I think that one was just hyped because it was, it's an Eddie Murphy movie. I mean, he was still, I mean, he's not super relevant these days. He hasn't done, they did a new Coming to America, I think, was his most recent thing. But apart from that, I mean, the last thing I remember him in was the Shrek movies, and that's been a while now.
But he was doing more family comedies for a while, and then he also got it. Dreamgirls, the movie about it was a movie about some singers, and I can't remember who they were, and I apologize. Wasn't the Rockettes?
I know what movie you're talking about. I can't remember what singers they are.
Yeah. He
like,
played.
They were like in like the doo-wop era, right?
Yeah. He plays their manager.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, it was a 2006 film, actually. Let's see. Fictional story based on the Supremes. There we go.
Supremes.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. It's a fictional story, but it's supposedly based around about the Supremes.
Okay, gotcha.
Anyway, so moving on. What do you got?
Well, I'd say kind of shifting gears from movies a little bit in the world of gaming, and this is one that I personally was victim to this derailed hype train, and I think a lot of people were. Duke Nukem Forever. A game that got like, there's development hell, and then there's wherever the hell they sent Duke Nukem, because it was what was it, like 13 years, I think. 13 years, got sold, the rights to the game got sold to so many companies, and then when it finally came out, it just, and I want to preface this by saying,
looks like
I bought the collector's edition of this game.
Oof.
I still have like all the collector's edition stuff because I bought it, and I will admittedly say I beat the game, but was it worth that long of a wait? Absolutely not. I mean, it looked like a 13-year-old game when it came out. Played like a 13-year-old game. Anything that was revolutionary about it had already been done in other games for years. I know that, like a lot of the humor for Duke Nukem, it didn't really age well.
I'm gonna kick ass and chew gum.
I mean,
I'm all out of gum.
Kudos to John St. John for having such an iconic character voice, but like, Duke himself couldn't save this game. It was just a mess. It was playable. Well, I mean, it wasn't really buggy that I remember, but it wasn't really anything that like people were clamoring to get more of, you know?
Well, if I remember correctly, so some information, a little bit about it. It was actually 15 years in development,
15.
announced in 1997, and then released in 2011. However, development began in 1996, so that was where the 15 years came from.
Yeah.
Supposedly, Gearbox paid 20 to 30 million for the rights to it, and plus the development costs. And again, it had been in development hell for years.
Ever.
So if I remember correctly, even when it came out, like the game just wasn't
good.
I mean, the graphics were better than any of the other Duke games, but
Yeah.
they were still like a generation or two behind. Like there was really,
Yeah, because I mean that
I
was a
mean, in a
360
15-year,
game. That was a 360 game, and it looked like an
yeah,
original Xbox game.
yeah, and for
This
a
is in
game
the
that's been
period
in a
where the 360 had been out for a while, so you weren't really seeing games that looked like prior generation. So
yeah, and I mean, this was also back in the days when, if you want a 15-year development cycle, I mean, you had technology jumps constantly. So if you wanted to make it look good, you would have had to just shutter it and start from the beginning. And
yeah.
Gearbox was already in it a lot of money, and I guess they just didn't want to put forth a whole lot more effort. But
Yeah.
speaking of Gearbox,
Oh,
do you remember Colonial Marines?
I was waiting for you to segue to that. Yeah, Colonial Marines. See, like that was another one. Like I didn't buy it when it came out, but when like all the bad reviews were coming out about it, I rented it, and I'm like, okay, I gotta see if this is as bad as it really is. Everybody's saying it is, and it was. It was actually worse in some cases. Um, just
I mean, I have it. I had the game
oh,
because my ex-wife bought it for me. She got it on like a Groupon sale or something
okay,
like that. So it had been out for a while, and I tried it. I played through it
yeah,
a little bit, and I was just like when the aliens would just like randomly start walking around like lost puppies,
yeah,
or the AI and the play controls were just god awful, and it was
yeah.
bad. Now that said, there is an Aliens game that's available on Game Pass. Fireteam Elite, I think it's
See, I that one
Aliens
I've heard good
Fireteam
things.
Elite.
Well,
I've heard
that
good
was
things about it.
disappointing.
I've played. Well,
Welcome to
I can play. It's on
WandaMobile.com,
XCloud.
and today we're
As a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, uh,
Sorry, like something was like queuing up random audio on my computer, and I'm like, what the hell is this
oh,
talking in the background? So I
okay.
apologize for that.
Yeah, sorry. For those of you just listening to the audio, and I
Yeah,
stopped is because Tim was making weird faces.
yeah.
Anyway,
I couldn't figure out where this. I'm like,
weirder
who
than
am I
normal.
hearing?
Yeah.
Voices in my head? What?
Uh, so yeah, Fireteam Elite is on XCloud.
Yep.
So you mean I don't even have to download it, and I've played it a few times. It's actually a lot of fun. It's a small squad based game. You play with two other people, and you go through and you do missions, and you have like different classes, and the different classes have different abilities and whatnot. And it's actually kind of fun.
So, I mean, it's pretty solid from what I've heard.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's very enjoyable, and there really wasn't any lag as far as like the XCloud goes.
That's
But
good.
anyway, I think you're up for
Yeah.
your a crap fest.
Yep. And see, this is one that generally people say this one didn't live up to the hype. But this is one that, as time went on, got much better, and people ended up legitimately enjoying No Man's Sky. But that I
Yeah.
think, and see, for what came out at launch, I enjoyed it. But that being said, the studio overpromised and underdelivered severely.
Oh, so you mean Cyberpunk?
Well, that was also on my list, but I think that goes without saying. Um, Now, playing No Man's Sky today, if you were to go and download it right now, there's a lot of stuff in this game now. There's like they've added so much to it, they fixed so much. It just had a really long turnaround time from release until now. Now that being said, the lead developer, Sean Layton, I believe his name was. Is it Sean?
Not sure.
I'm sorry, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. And I thought I had wrote it down in my notes here, but apparently I didn't. Anyway, I actually got to meet him like shortly before release, and it was like a little meet and greet. You could get his autograph and whatnot. And like I was telling him how it's nice to see original IPs trying something new that isn't what everything else is doing. And I said, honestly, I thanked him. I said we need more. This was at a time where everything was a zombie game. You remember that period of time? Um, it was either a zombie game or a sequel. Like there was, in my opinion, not a whole lot of original stuff. But I told him,
And
like,
you had like Dead Island, DayZ,
yep,
the
Dead Rising, Red
Dead
Dead Redemption 2,
Rising.
or Red Dead Redemption Zombie, whatever. Everything was either zombies or had a zombie mode or was a sequel.
Call of Duty's zombie
Zombies, yeah.
mode. Yeah.
But like I told him, it's thank you for bringing something original to the gaming space. We really need that right now, and this looks legitimately good. I'm really excited to play it. And then it came out, like a lot of the stuff that they had talked about just wasn't there. Or they're like, oh, that feature's coming soon, and stuff just kept getting pushed back, and more negative reviews came out. But now, if you look at the game now, its review scores as of today have gone up significantly. It's getting a lot of accolades. So, I mean, this is a hype train that derailed, but they were able to get it back on the track after several years. But still meets the criteria of something that didn't live up to the hype. So
Right. Sticking around on games real quick,
yeah,
another one that really broke my heart was Anthem. BioWare's very lauded kind of loot shooter action RPG type thing. It was kind of a fusion really between things like Titanfall and Mass Effect and Destiny.
yep.
And I played the beta, and I was willing to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt on the beta because it was a rough beta.
It's a beta.
But it was a beta, right? So
Yep.
it was rough around the edges. I've played plenty of betas that have just been like, ooh, I don't know.
Yeah, I really hope they patch that.
Right. But Anthem came out, and it was just it was
Man.
very broken.
Yeah.
There was meh, like there was no content.
Are they even actively supporting Anthem anymore, or do they just kind
No,
of?
they tried, or they were going to try. They actually announced that they were doing a huge overhaul type patch,
Yeah,
very
actually, I
similar
remember that, yeah.
to like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk, where they were like, all right, we know we done goofed, so we're gonna take a bunch of time and do this huge content patch, and then I think 3 months into the 6 month development cycle for this patch, BioWare came out and said, we're really sorry, but we're just dropping. We're gonna have to drop support, so we're not gonna do it anymore. We're not gonna do any continued maintenance. Like the game's not even in maintenance anymore. I don't even know if I think the servers might still be online, but
I don't imagine
mean,
there's a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, it was really like it was very disappointing because I was really hoping that they could turn it around and turn it into a great working game because again,
you're a BioWare fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge BioWare fan. I've loved almost everything that they've done. But it was just it was rough. I mean, it was so disappointing to see one of my all-time favorite studios kind of fall from grace like they did with that game. But
right.
Anyway, so
That's
I think
sad.
Yeah. So what do you got?
Well, switching gears back to movies again, one that fairly recently came out, Matrix 4.
Ooh.
Now, I watched it on HBO Max. I was super pumped about it. And, like, the first maybe, it's 15 minutes, 30 minutes, somewhere around there, I'm like, okay, I like what they're doing with this. They're giving it, an alternate kind of take. Like, I hope they explain why Neo is still alive, because he shouldn't be. Or at the very least, shouldn't have his eyes. And then everything just kind of went, bleh. And the plot was not hard to follow. I mean, it was pretty, pretty straightforward, but just everything about it it was an unnecessary sequel, in my opinion. I mean, the CG was good, and I mean, it's a Matrix film. They're known for good visual effects. But just everything about the story just was a jumbled mess. And I know a lot of people, like, especially after the original trilogy, were really pumped that they were continuing that. And it was like within maybe 2 weeks of it coming out, they're like, yeah, we have no plans for a Matrix 5. We really don't think there's ever going to be a Matrix 5. And I really wanted to like it. I really did. We've had a lot of movies like that recently where we both really wanted to enjoy them and just fell flat. There's not really much more I can say about Matrix other than if you've seen the original trilogy and you haven't seen Matrix 4, just stick with the original trilogy and pretend it ended there.
Yeah.
I had more fun with the Unreal Engine Matrix tech demo on my PS5 than I did playing or watching the movie, which is saying something because the tech demo, pretty much it's 5 minutes of stuff to do, and then you can just walk around the city looking at how pretty it is in the new Unreal Engine. And I still had more fun with that.
Fair enough.
So
I think for my part, there's definitely a few movies out there that I can think of that, and I've got a list, so it's kind of like going through the list and going, oh,
yeah.
oh, oh. A movie that Tim, you probably remember because I think the first time I ever saw it, I was at your house.
Uh-oh.
2001's classic Monkey Bone.
Oh God, Monkey Bone. like that one I think gets the nostalgia pass for me just because like it was so stupid, but I remember like laughing at it. But like I wouldn't say like that was riding on the Brandon Fraser hype train because like he was super big at the time.
Yeah.
But like I don't think a lot of people expected whatever that fever dream was. I don't
basically
imagine
what
it did
I would
too well.
basically what I would call Monkey Bone is essentially like 2000s version of Cool World.
You
You remember
know,
Cool World?
like this will tell you what kind of parents I had growing up. That was actually one of my favorite movies when I was like 11, 12, somewhere around there. But I
Were
mean,
your parents too cheap to buy Roger Rabbit?
well, no, I had Roger Rabbit. I loved that as a young kid. Thinking about the age that I just said and looking who the main female lead is, I kind of think I realize why I like that movie now.
Yeah. 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 But anyway,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's actually a really good analogy for Monkey Bone. It was uh, Joe's Apartment meets Roger Rabbit. I think was like, I mean, if you remember that movie,
yeah.
that was MTV's first feature film. Actually, Joe's Apartment. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Man,
Yeah, that one was definitely bad as well. But yeah, so that one I think the budget was 70 million and
yeah.
it grossed like 7
Oof. Ouch.
million.
Ouch.
Yeah, so
Or Brandon
they
Fraser.
yeah, yeah. But anyway,
He's
what
still a treasure though.
he is, and he's definitely making a career comeback. He's been playing
Yeah.
was it Negative Man or something in
No,
Doom
he
Patrol?
plays the robot, and I like. I'll be honest. I saw the first couple episodes of Doom Patrol. I enjoyed it, but that was when it came out. I haven't
Yeah,
gotten around to watch it since then. But like, it was good. I just it fell on the back burner for a couple years.
right.
But no,
Well,
he plays the
from what I'm
robot.
hearing is he's playing or he's landed 2 roles coming up. I think one is a TV series and another is in a movie. I can't remember what he's playing in the movie, but yes, he's definitely making a career resurgence. One of the things that I had heard as well was like he had to stop doing some of the more actiony movies because he had injured his back,
Yeah,
and so he couldn't do like the action stuff that he used to. So that that was kind of his niche, right? He had been
yeah.
kind of typecast in that role.
Well,
Things like
or
The Mummy and then
comedies.
George of the Jungle, and
Oh, George of the
which
Jungle.
was kind of both.
Yeah. Well, do you
Uh,
remember Encino Man?
yes, yeah,
Oh, I would love to see an Encino Man sequel where it's. I don't remember how the original movie ended, so I don't know if they could do a sequel. But do it where like it's Encino Man, like 30 years later, like he's learned more about like society and whatnot, and have him be like a freaking like professor, or history professor or some crap. Just give me more Brandon Fraser, honestly.
yeah, exactly. Um, so yeah. Anyway, what do you got on the docket?
Well, this is one that is part of a very divisive film universe. Superman Returns.
Ooh,
Man of Steel specifically.
ooh. I was gonna say
Yeah,
Superman Returns is actually a
yeah,
movie.
Superman,
That
yeah,
that is a movie.
yeah. Man of Steel. Henry Cavill, bless his heart, he is like the god king of nerds. And he's built like one. But Man of Steel. What can we say about that? I mean,
Well, I can tell you
it
this.
made its money back. I'll say that. Like I wrote this one down on my notes. It had a budget of 225 million. but it raked in 668 million worldwide. So I mean, it more than made its money back. But a lot of fans just they didn't like the full reboot of this. They didn't like the changes they made. They didn't like the visual effects on it. They didn't like the story or much of anything. Um, but I mean, like, it had like a very good team behind it. I mean, from the directing all the way down to the musical directions by Hans Zimmer, excuse me. Um, it just it was pretty underwhelming all in all, and a lot of people. I'm pretty sure the statute of limitations on spoilers is up. Superman kills Zod, which
Yeah.
was very uncharacteristic for Superman, but it fit into that the new like darker DC universe where things were grittier. They were trying to subvert the genre, but people,
You mean the Snyderverse?
yeah, people wanted to see Superman be Superman, not Superman flat out murder a guy.
Yeah, they kind of did a a series of comics and video games and movies about that. That was infamous.
Well, they did several.
Well, yes, but I'm saying probably of most recent and most famous note right now is infamous and whatnot. But
You mean Injustice?
yes, sorry, Injustice.
Infamous is a PlayStation game.
Well, also that, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Injustice.
Yeah, and I mean, like, granted, if they would have done like a live action Injustice or a live action Superman Red Sun or any of those Elseworlds comics where it's Superman being bad guy, I
Right.
would have paid to see that multiple times because, like, I like bad guy Superman stories. But if I'm seeing a story where it's good guy Superman, I expect good guy Superman. And I know, like, a lot of like Henry Cavill, he definitely looks the part. I mean, he's a big nerd, like I said. He loves comic books. But there's only so much you can do with the direction you're given, only so much you can do with the script. And I think a lot of people just were underwhelmed and disappointed by it, even though monetarily it did its job as a movie. I mean, obviously it spawned, this whole Snyderverse with
Right.
what they were doing there, but it was what it was.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, we could probably say that about most of the Snyderverse, right? I mean, Batman versus Superman was a train wreck.
Why did you say that name?
Right.
Which I mean, so many people were so like Batman versus Superman was a movie that I mean, we can even throw that one on the list. That was a movie that was hyped up and like people were asking for it for years. And then we get like a very short section of them fighting and then tripping into the trope of two good guys fight, realize bad guy manipulated them, team up to fight bad guy. Which I mean, it's a proven formula. It works when you do it right and you do it well. But
they didn't do that.
People wanted Batman versus Superman. They wanted to see them. I mean, granted, you can't make a whole, even hour and a half movie of them just fighting. But there's ways you can stretch it out, build it up, and make it work. We've seen it done in multiple other films, but it didn't work in this one.
Right. Well, I mean,
also, Doomsday looks stupid.
Yes, I mean there were multiple things wrong. I mean, well, Doomsday looks like a goddamn Lord of the Rings troll, is what he looks like. It looks like it looks like they just borrowed the film assets from
Lord of the Rings and just
Lord of the Rings, and then rolled with it. But Batman versus Superman had so many things wrong with it. I mean, it was cheap writing. They subverted, a lot of expectations and whatnot. Like Batman's supposed to be edgy and everything like that, but he's like straight up kills people.
No, his missiles killed people.
Yes, wank. Anyway, and then just the whole concept of Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor, like that was.
I mean, like he could have pulled it off with a better film. But the way that they present with a different direction to the character, I think he could have pulled it off. But like they had him be like Lex Luthor that got beat up for his lunch money and now has enough money that he can make people do things for him, but still has that I'm angry because somebody took my lunch money vibe. I mean, coming as a nerd myself, like I felt offended.
Well, not only that, but I mean his characterization as well he was like he was like manic Lex Luthor. It was like somebody
Yeah.
had come. It was like somebody could. He was Jesse Eisenberg trying to play.
Jesse Eisenberg playing he was Jesse Eisenberg trying to play himself playing Lex Luthor. It
Yes,
wasn't
exactly.
him playing Lex Luthor. It was him being him pretending to be Lex Luthor.
Yes, exactly. I mean, if you want to stick to like DC, it was basically like somebody had tried to combine like the Riddler or the Joker with Lex Luthor, because he was just
Yeah.
very manic and very kind of
Yeah.
all over the place. Like Lex Luthor is traditionally brooding. He's very quiet,
Intelligent, calculating.
intelligent.
I mean,
Yes,
he is a rival to Superman in all but strength. And some would even argue he's got more intellect than Superman. But like we just saw rich xenophobic guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We have enough of that.
Right, and there's a reason why Lex Luthor in the animated series, played by Clancy Brown, was so successful.
Well, because Clancy Brown for starters, but
well, yes, but and that's why I'm saying it was successful, because he's able to play that dark, brooding, quiet, calculating, manipulative characters very well.
Superman, me boy, I'm here to get me kryptonite.
It's green, like money,
Like money, Mr. Superman.
Exactly.
For those who don't know, Clancy Brown is also the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
Yes. Which, when I found that out, blew my mind.
Oh my god, yes. Like, if you ever watch any, like, live cast recordings, like, of them, like, doing, like, cons and whatnot, it's so hilarious to see Clancy Brown voicing Mr. Krabs in person. But he is...
Yeah.
Clancy Brown is amazing. I love that man.
Yes. He is an absolute treat.
Mm-hmm.
So... Sorry, folks. I was turning down the air conditioner, or the heater in my house. It's getting a little warm.
Turn down for what?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so moving on a little bit. Some of the other movies that I'm kind of thinking about, and this kind of goes for almost a series of them. I would say pretty much anything past the very first Transformers, Michael Bay Transformers.
Yeah.
That first one was definitely, I think, part of that was nostalgia, like hype train type stuff, especially for me. I was like, oh my god! And it was decent. Like, I think it was decent. I mean, I could still watch the movie today and enjoy it. I would definitely watch the movie a lot, or enjoy the movie a lot more, if they had a lot less of the human characters, because admittedly they were the most boring part of it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a thing with Hollywood and games and stuff like that. For some reason, like when there's non-humanoid aspects of a series, they have to inject humans.
Well,
I think it's one of those things where it's like they feel like you have to have that connective tissue of another human being in order to like get into it. But for me,
it gives you that everyman kind of thing, where it's somebody you can relate to, who will in character explain these things to the audience. But like admit, like even the G1 Transformers cartoon, you had the human characters, but they weren't the main characters. They were the sidekicks of the Autobots.
right.
With this, like Spike Witwicky, which is Witwicky is a nod to the original characters from the cartoon, but like they tried to like work that family's backstory into why they would be with the Transformers, when you could have easily just gone with, simple trope of kid goes to get in his car one day and oh my god, it's a robot now because an Autobot replaced his vehicle, and like, cool. What teenage kid isn't going to want to like follow this cool robot around? But they made it like this whole thing about him and his relationship with Megan Fox and that all that crap, like stuff that we didn't need. I mean,
yeah. And again, pretty much anything after that, especially was really kind of like it was more disappointing, I think, especially to fans of Transformers. I mean, they brought in Transformers 3, they brought in Shockwave, and they did pretty much nothing with him. Like, he never even speaks. And Shockwave is supposed to be this ultra intelligent, calculating scientist. Like, Shockwave really doesn't even get into fights that much.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't get involved. Um, but they had him in there, and they did nothing with him. They really didn't do a whole lot with Soundwave, other than kind of make him a jackass. Um, many of the other Autobot. I mean, plus they were recycling Autobots left and right as well. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Like
yeah,
by
and
the
then
time you got attached to a character, they like either died off screen or just weren't in the next one.
right,
Like I mean, you have your tent poles, you've got Optimus, you've got Bumblebee. Obviously, those are characters that are going to keep around. But like Ratchet was a long time Autobot that they later killed off. I mean, and let's not even talk about the
Jazz.
yeah, let's not even talk about the travesty that was Devastator.
Uh,
The first combiner made like just this awesome villain, and they turned him into some like weird cat
Cyberdome
gargoyle thing, and it's like
that they
that's
then neutered.
no, yeah. I mean, it literally had wrecking balls, explosions, Michael Bay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I think we can do one more.
Okay.
What do you got, Tim?
Well, this is one that kind of hits for me because my last one will be a video game. It's one that I was really looking forward to. It's one that visually had a really unique aesthetic to it, had a good creative team behind it. Yuji Naka, one of the original creators of Sonic the Hedgehog, was helming this. It was developed by Square Enix, so everything so far, you're like, okay, unique art style, renowned game director, renowned game studio. This is going to be amazing. Balan Wonderworld,
Oh
which,
yeah.
like, we own it because we're like, all right, this is gonna be really like. I played the demo and I'm like, okay, it's a demo, not super impressed. Yeah, I'll still give the game a try. And like, it is just so boring. Is the best way to describe it. Um, like you'd think, like the Sonic games aren't really known for their story. Square Enix is known for story-driven games. There's not really much of a story per se. You're not really explained why anything is happening. There's a lot of mechanics in the game that they don't really explain to you. Um, there's like a little side quest with some like this game gets a pass because there's little chickens called Tims. I give it a slight pass for that. Uh, but there's like a little mini game involving collecting the Tims and building a playground or something for them. I'm they don't even really explain that or how to do that. It just the game is just bland all in all. I mean, and bland is even being nice. Like I will say, the visual aesthetic, it's a very pretty game. It's not hyper realistic. It's not the best graphics I've ever seen in a game, but it was pretty. I mean, it was
Mhm.
entertaining to look at. But pretty much, if you play one level in the game, apart from some of the different powers you get throughout the rest of it, if you played one level, you've pretty much gotten what you're gonna get out of it. Um, the mini games are all very repetitive. They're really easy to complete fully just by recognizing the timing on them, which is very predictable. Um, it just, yeah, I mean, it seemed like everything that was, about this game, people were like, they were hitting all the right notes on. And then at some point, they're just like, yeah, you know what? Screw it. Just put out whatever we got. It just, I was just very disappointed by that one. That was one that, um, a lot of people were disappointed about. I mean, it even got to the point that, like, looking at some of the notes I had here, it was so poorly received that the demo was actually pulled from the PlayStation Store. It was so bad they didn't want people to play the demo,
Yeah,
the free demo.
that's rough.
Yeah, which is a
Oof.
shame because again, if you look at the pedigree of this game, it should have all rights been a success, but it was just again bland. Bland is the best way to describe it. But it is what it is. Stuff happens.
Yep. Yep. All right, folks. Well, I think that's going to go ahead and do it for us for this episode. We thank you for joining us on this trip down disappointment lane.
Yeah.
Um, we hope that maybe next time we'll have something a little bit more upbeat, lighthearted. We'll see. We make no guarantees about anything because we are not that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for joining us, and again, thank you to all of our partners. You can find us hosted on Anchor.fm, which feeds out to Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and several other podcasting sites. You can find us on the video recordings on youtube.com/non-sequitur-nerds. We will occasionally live stream on twitch.tv/non-sequitur-nerds.
We need to do that sometime soon.
Yeah, we probably should. You can also catch us on social media, Twitter @non-sequitur-nerd and facebook.com/non-sequitur-nerds, where we post general updates, memes, and other stupid crap that we think up during the day and the
Pretty
week.
much.
I think that will about do it for us tonight. As always, we thank you for joining us, and we hope you take care and have a good day, morning, evening, night, whatever it may be. And we look forward to seeing you next time.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
Alrighty, well, for Non Sequitur Nerds, as always, I'm Ian, and that is...
I'm Tim. Night, everybody. All right, we're out.